episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are live from Maya Cinemas talking about Abigail. And joining me, we've got my wife, Gina Mizzoni, her cousin, filmmaker Perry Markle, and filmmaker and Sin City Horror Club founder Knik Woods returning to the podcast. We have a great time talking about this one. It was a really fun live show over there at Maya Cinemas. And this is a really fun movie. We're going to get into a lot of puzzle pieces on this one. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on social media at Piecing Pod, and don't forget to join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Also, we will be back at Maya Cinemas on Thursday, May 23rd to talk about Furiosa, the newest entry in George Miller's Mad Max series, and I am super excited for that one. We'll be announcing more about the show in the next week or so, but keep an eye out, and let's talk about Abigail. I'm David Rosen. I'm the host of the Piecing It Together podcast. What we do, thank you very much, we take a look at a movie through the lens of what other movies might have inspired it. We're going to talk about this crazy movie, Abigail, we all just watched, and get into some puzzle pieces. That's what we call them. But before we get into Abigail, I want to introduce my guests. First up, we got Knik Woods returning to the show. Knik, introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, David, thanks for having me back. My name's Knik Woods. I'm a local filmmaker here in Vegas and the founder of Sin City Horror Club.
Absolutely. Second time this year being on a live one. Happy to have him back. Next to him is Gina Mizzoni, my wife, a photographer. Gina, introduce yourself.
I'm David's wife, and I am a big fan of horror movies. That's why I agreed to be on this one. And I also used to love watching Lifetime movies when Lifetime movies were at least enjoyable. And then a couple years ago, they just started to suck more than they already did, where you can't, I call it junk food.
Sure.
You're not watching it because it's highbrow, intellectual.
Well, if you notice, fast food has gotten worse in recent years,
Exactly.
but that's a topic for another podcast. But yeah, absolutely. They've gotten worse and worse, the Lifetime movies, but we still watch them here and there. But Perry Markle on the right over there is first time here on the show. Happy to have him on. Perry,
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Yes, so this is my first time. I am Gina's cousin, and I've been to many of these podcasts, and I've listened to the show many times, so I'm very excited to be here for the first one.
And we're really happy to have you here. So, and this is a fun one, I think, for you to be on for the first time. This is such a ridiculous movie, but I think it wears a lot of influences on its sleeve, and I think it's going to be fun to get into some of those here. So with these live shows, I do like to just kick it right off with a puzzle piece just to kind of get right in and throw the idea of the show out there. And first of all, I don't know if everybody here knows, but this started life as a remake of Dracula's Daughter from the 30s, which was a sequel to the original. That was the original script, and that was what they were going to do, make a reboot of that. I don't know if that was part of the whole dark universe thing that failed immediately once they put that Mummy movie out with Tom Cruise. But regardless, the first puzzle piece I want to bring up is last year's Renfield, which takes goofy, dumb criminals and puts them right into the old Universal Monsters movies format and has the blessing of the whole universe. I mean, that was technically a Universal Monster movie. Even though it's so different in tone from all those classics, it's part of the whole overall thing of Universal Monster movies. And so is this. This comes right out of the whole canon, basically. And as weird as it might seem for something as goofy as the movie we just watched to be part of Universal, it is basically that. So, yeah, were you guys fans of Renfield? Anybody over here? With Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult, for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, it was, yes. I liked how it played. It didn't take Dracula too seriously. It really let him play around and be funny and really let loose, but definitely the same amount of gore.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of why I was thinking about starting the show off with it, but I wasn't 100% sure. But once the gore started unleashing here, I was like, that's going to be my first one here. And this movie is just splatter city, and that definitely takes a page from Renfield. Nicolas Cage is so much fun. We don't get a lot of Dracula himself in this, but I wish it had been Cage. That would have been that. This movie would be way up if it had been. But What about you guys? Fans of Renfield?
I actually didn't see.
You haven't
Renfield.
seen it yet?
I'm a bad horror fan, I guess.
Nah.
I haven't seen it either, and I love Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
So
You would love Cage in it. We should watch it one of these days
But
again.
yes, same thing with the dumb criminals kind of thing. Just really people who are not able to do their job kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so unequipped for this situation, but that's what makes them good, blood fodder. Or is that a word? Blood I don't know. But, they get splattered into...
Vampire.
Yeah, there you go.
blood food.
Yeah, blood food. There you go. But I think she calls them flesh bags at one point, meat bags, something like that.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. But let's go to another puzzle piece. Nick, what do you got for your first one?
The first one, I just, with everyone having private stories and them all being kind of connected in a way, my first thought was Saw franchise. And then the more it went on, I was like, okay, this definitely has a lot of Saw 2 stuff. We're all trapped in a space and they all have secret stories and stuff. And then there was one, with finding out that she's this female junkie, it was again Saw 2.
Sure.
And then when they dropped the Agatha Christie reference, it occurred to me that Saw is just Agatha Christie with torture porn. I hadn't even freaking realized it until they put those, they made that connection. And I was like, wow, that's wild. Everyone's got a secret story. They're connected in some way. They're all trying to hide something, while they're trying to figure something else out. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought this was going to lean in heavier to the whole murder mystery kind of thing, the Knives Out stuff, or, any of that kind of thing. But it didn't really go there. It was just more horror, straight up horror. And I'm glad that it did. That made this movie, I think, a lot better. But the Saw movies, that's a great pull. Like, I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, all these people, they all have their secret dark pasts, and they all catch up with them here in this one house at this one moment. So... yeah, that's a good one. What about you guys? Are you Saw fans, either of you?
Yes, that was one of the ones I thought of. I couldn't think of one where there's she falls into a pit of needles.
That's Saw 2.
That's the second one.
Yeah, female junkie situation.
But yes, especially gathering people who don't know each other, putting them in a room, and then that kind of situation. So I definitely thought of that one.
Oh, and they're leveraging their secrets against each other. Like that is something that happens in a lot of the songs.
Giving each other a hard time for it. Yeah.
That's actually a genre that I don't usually enjoy. I just get really bored with a bunch of people that don't know each other trapped in a house. But I really enjoyed it in this film. I thought it was just really fun.
Yeah, well, they're all so goofy, and I think that helps. Like, they're bickering with one another, and all that really helps, I think, to keep it fun and keep it fresh, which I know you're usually not big into those. So
no, I like more character development, and you don't usually get enough of that in that kind of a
there's
story.
so many people.
Exactly.
When you got 5
if it was a full-blown series, like I'm actually more of a television person than a movie person, you could do that with a mini series.
Sure, absolutely. Well, Gina, let's go to your first piece. What do you got?
So mine is going to be a really obvious one. I'm sure everyone that saw this movie tonight thought of it. It would be Orphan. You got the creepy little girl who actually isn't a creepy little girl. In this case, she's a vampire. In the Orphan, she's actually an adult woman that has some sort of a health condition that makes her look like a child. And she's dangerous and just ugh.
Yeah.
So that would be my first puzzle piece.
I think that's great, and I love the Orphan movies. They're so much fun and so just far-fetched to the point of pure ridiculousness, but played very kind of straight in a way.
And then the recent one with Julia Stiles, it was so good. It was unexpectedly good. It started, the first half of it was really cheesy.
First kill,
yeah. And then it just goes in this really awesome unexpected direction. I really enjoyed that one.
That's a great one.
To jump on that, I always am critical of movies where children talk like adults. I'll notice it pretty early on. That's fucking dialogue. Didn't even think to write it like a child. And in Orphan, it made sense. There was some of that was happening kind of peppered in early in the film. And in this one, they're like, oh, she's 1,000 years old. Okay, all right, well then we can get away with that. So I don't know.
I love that line at the end of the movie where she's like, that's the thing about being a vampire. You have all this time to learn how to use your powers.
Cool
shit. Yeah.
I wish that would be pretty cool to be a vampire. You could just learn all the stuff that you want to ever learn to do, and you don't only have 80 years or whatever, how 90, some people 50 years, whatever, to live. You just have all this time, thousands of years.
Gina's gonna turn me into a vampire.
Why was there
one
not
of these
more
days.
flying?
I want to. Who is anyone in here a vampire? Bite me.
Oh, we got one right up there. All right.
Why was there
There's
more,
bound to be one.
There wasn't enough flying in it though. She flew the one time, and then like no one else flew. And I was
Yeah,
like,
she could have flown a little
no,
more.
that would have been really neat.
They were really selective with like the power sets and everything,
Sure.
and what they chose to do and not do. So that was interesting.
Absolutely.
That was really
Perry, what do you got for your first one?
So for my first one, I have From Dusk Till Dawn.
Nice.
Yes. Definitely just like the, people turning on you, having to make the tough decision, like when Sammy turns kind of thing. But yeah, just the whole night, literally, they were staying in the mansion from night till dawn.
Yeah.
2 days in that mansion kind of thing. So definitely a lot of aspects from that one.
Absolutely.
The vampire conversation where they start discussing all the mythology and like what can kill them. That
Yeah.
actually happens in Dusk Till Dawn. They have a whole conversation about it.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna throw right on top of that Fright Night, which I just rewatched for the first time in years the other day. But another one where they have the conversation. Like they're all clearly vampire movie fans, and like they know the little rules and stuff like that, and they have that whole thing. That goes right with From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a great pull. That's such a great movie, and another movie that just has so much fun with the idea of vampires. Just like let's just fucking let's have some fun with this.
Yeah.
And lots of swearing, lots of very gory scenes with stakes and the crossing. There wasn't crossbows in this one, but and like same thing with like the garlic didn't really seem to phase her, but silver did. So daylight.
Yeah, I think that's fun too. That there's like the rules, and everyone in it knows it. We all know the rules of vampire movies, but we could just make some of it not work.
Yeah.
Like screw it. Like whatever is going to make it more fun. So. I'll throw in for another one, another movie from last year actually. Maybe a couple of these are a little too new, but I'm gonna throw Megan on the list here as far as dancing little kid doing
robot
killings on people, like going down hallways, dancing their way through. Megan is so much fun, and another movie that is so clearly inspired by the other killer doll movies of the last 20-30 years, and just plays into every little thing you think about them, and then just kind of flips things around. But mainly the little girl who's playing Abigail here is so good, and she is just so much fun, so funny, and just eating up every second of screen time in this, and reminded me a lot of just how great Megan is in Megan.
I was discussing with one of the homies earlier about how it used to be dolls were the genre, right? Now it's child related things in the horror, like it kind of expanded genre now. It's really popular with Megan, and there was another one I can't remember. Well, Imaginary had had a lot of that. So, but it's becoming like its own niche thing that they're like expanding on. I think a lot of it has to do with marketability and Hot Topic, to be honest with you. Like you can sell a lot of that shit if you can make an iconic childlike plaything and sell a shit ton of it. And it's like, well, we could do more with this than just killer dolls.
Do you think there's going to be Abigail costumes at Halloween this year?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, honestly, I'll just do my next puzzle piece if that's okay.
Do it.
That's freaking My Chemical Romance. The freaking the music video for Helena is a undead ballerina.
You're absolutely right.
And I was just the second she was doing that, I was just like, this is a Hot Topic written all over it, man. So yeah, that was definitely my. I consider that film because it is a very cinematic video.
Absolutely. As a music composer who collaborates with filmmakers on music videos, and it's one of my favorite things to do, I completely agree. And that is a great video. And you're absolutely
a fantastic video. That's a great band too. Shit.
Oh man, that's a great pull. I had not thought about that at all, but I love that one. Gina, let's go to your next piece.
All right. So my next piece is actually like a nesting doll of puzzle piece within a puzzle piece within a puzzle piece.
Right.
First, so everyone will know it as the bling ring.
Okay.
Is that what it was called? The bling ring?
The Sofia Coppola?
Yeah. So it was the Sofia Coppola film, but before that it was a Lifetime movie, and then before that it was obviously a real case.
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up is because the character Sammy in this movie is like a rich girl that ends up getting involved with criminal activities.
Yeah.
And she's like, your stereotypical kind of rich girl, like pretty and,
I like that. I hadn't thought about that, but these people all being too dumb to pull off this crime, like also I think,
Which is kind of like the
Yeah.
same with those kids.
exactly in the Bling Ring, like they really bit off more than they could chew, and that is a much more grounded, normal
Yeah.
story, not supernatural, but they really went into a situation that they were not equipped for, and so I think that's actually a really great.
And the name is so stupid. Like even when I say it, like I'm like Bling Ring. Or is it Ring Bling? Bling
Yeah.
Ring. It's Bling Ring. Yeah.
It's the Bling Ring. The Bling Ring.
Sammy was the blonde one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she also shops at Hot Topic.
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
did any of you see Lisa Frankenstein yet? That's from this year, and she's the star of that. And
Oh, okay.
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of this year. It's so much fun. But
What's it called?
Lisa Frankenstein for my dad in the back there. Let's go to
Who,
Perry.
by the way, really liked this movie.
Yeah, I know.
He
did.
clapped and said it's. What did he say? It's a 10.
He gave it a 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Abigail 2 with Joey.
Abigail
Yeah.
too with Joey. All right, yeah, she was big, even though she was able to get rid of the. But yeah,
Was that because he died?
yeah,
She
that's what he
wasn't-
said.
Okay.
Because she said that because he died, she's able to like not, turn or whatever. But what do you got next, Perry?
So for my next one, I have Clue. Definitely another thing with like gathering people who don't know each other, people who have secret identities. The exposition at the end of like revealing who everybody is. I guess Giancarlo Esposito's character would be like Tim Curry, like the butler kind of thing.
Sure.
Just like orchestrating the whole thing. Pairing up and like the scared one and you go up the stairs first kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the terrain. They're in an unknown mansion kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that'd be my next one.
that's a great one for any of these kinds of movies where people are like stuck in a house and who knows, what's going to happen to any of them at any time, and they're all kind of bickering back and forth. Like Clue is a great one. Also, Giancarlo Esposito, his like performance, like he is so like kind of getting typecast lately in everything he does, and he's having so
good,
much
though.
fun here.
He's so good at it, though.
Yeah, he's finally
he owned
doing
it.
something
He-
else,
he-
which
he
is great to
Fully
see.
took control of it for sure.
Yeah, he's awesome. Absolutely. I'm gonna go with Home Alone for a puzzle
That
piece.
one too, yeah.
This is a kid. There's these criminals that broke into her house, and now she's just fucking with them. Like she could probably dispatch with them in 5 seconds, but she's just having a good time, getting rid of them and killing them all and messing with them, and that is half the fun of Home Alone. The fact that he could probably just call the cops or something, but he just wants to mess with them the whole time, and. So yeah, Home Alone's my next puzzle piece.
That's a good one.
What do you got next?
So this might not be film. I'm not going to say it's film related, even though it is. And maybe people aren't going to follow this or not. But the whole mansion thing, to me, it had very much Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness vibes. If you played either of those games, the mansion's very similar. It has like puzzles in it and stuff, just like that room with the freaking shutters and all that type of shit.
Sure.
And they implied it with the bookcase and all that. And I know that pulls from a lot of older haunted mansion stuff.
Sure.
But for some reason, the aesthetic of it just really screamed Resident Evil to me with the first Resident Evil game. So
Yeah, I thought when we did an episode actually on Renfield last year, I thought that movie had a lot of video game influence to it, and so I think that's kind of where they're going with these Universal movies. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. We're obviously recording this, opening night of this movie. Like we don't know how well it's going to do. It'll be interesting to see if this does well. I think Renfield did pretty well. Like, are they going to continue to try to update these monster movies with dumb people?
they're being
Basically,
very
that's
sneaky
gonna-
with it, actually, because
Yeah.
I don't even realize that that's what they're doing. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, cool vampire movie,
Yeah.
So, but I think the thing that I thought was interesting is that they weren't really asking a lot of questions about all the contraptions and the shutters and stuff like that in the house. Like they're like, we can cut the power. And I was like, this house is clearly much more than it looks like, but there wasn't really a discussion about that. But
Speaking of which, just to throw a little mini puzzle piece in there, when they had to cut the power, Jurassic Park as a piece.
Yes.
They had to sneak down hallways and avoid the velociraptor that she was. So anyway, Gina, what do you got next?
So my next puzzle piece is actually a remake of a Lifetime movie from the early 90s. It was, originally it was from the early 90s. It was Mother May I Sleep with Danger, and it starred Tori Spelling. And then in 2016, when Lifetime movies, like there was still some pretty good Lifetime movies on, they did they remade it, and it starred Tori Spelling and James Franco.
Yeah.
And what makes it like this movie is that out of nowhere it suddenly like has to do with vampires. And unless you watch the trailer, like obviously if you watch the trailer for this movie, you know what this movie's about.
Sure.
But if you hadn't watched it, you'd be like, what the hell? This is a vampire movie?
That would have been a crazy reveal.
That's
yeah.
exactly how this movie is. And I'm sorry for spoiling it for everyone because I know everyone's dying to watch Lifetime movies.
Did we watch that movie?
You didn't watch it
I
with
didn't
me,
watch
and
that.
it was
Okay.
it's actually legitimately a good movie. Like it's not even just like a Lifetime movie good. It's
Yeah.
like real movie good.
I remember that was during that phase where James Franco decided he wanted to just start making Lifetime movies.
Yeah, I think he might have directed it
Yeah,
too.
he did. He
Yeah.
did.
Shit,
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that's so random. Now I kind of want to watch that. Now. That
Yeah,
sounds crazy.
I really enjoyed it. And I believe it was a lesbian vampire movie. I believe.
Even
I
better.
can't. My brain is like not completely remembering it, but I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Right on. One more from Perry over there.
So I have The Exorcist.
Oh,
Definitely got some Reagan vibes. The upside down, like the spider crawl.
Yeah.
Like the slow transformation, kind of feeling bad for her, and then realizing like the power and strength that she has, being able to overpower them. So that'd be my next one.
Yeah, I love it. Also, when she starts cursing like a
Oh yeah,
freaking
the
sailor.
swearing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was some good stuff right there. Yeah, I love it. Definitely. I think that's a great one to include here for sure. I do want to open it up to the floor for some puzzle pieces. And like I said, we do have some shirts, these Abigail shirts. So if anybody has anything they thought of that they think might have inspired Abigail, I got one right up there.
I got two remakes.
Okay.
Both of them the atmosphere of people, strangers coming together into a creepy house. Remake of House on Haunted Hill
I thought about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
too. Yep.
and the remake of The Haunting with Liam Neeson.
Oh,
and
okay.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Hunting.
The Haunting, right?
Yeah,
The
they're-
Haunting?
When they come into the room, into the big room here, with the inlaid floor and the big window with the circular thing.
Sure.
That reminded me of a scene that was early in The Haunting, the circular room with a carousel in it.
Uh-huh.
That got that kind of a vibe too.
Absolutely.
And then one more.
Ghosts at you.
The bodies exploding just like really suddenly was from Toby Hooper's movie Life Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Life Force
Shit.
is so good. That is a crazy movie. That's a good one. Those are all really great there. Last year we did a live show on The Blackening, which House on Haunted Hill was another one for. But yeah, did I hear a piece up there?
Yes, 13 ghosts
13 ghosts.
trapped in the mechanical house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Once those shutters start closing and there's no getting out once that stuff starts happening. Absolutely. Right next.
Yes, Ready or Not. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
But this gave me that whole vibe, the whole being stuck in a house, shutting down the electricity where she can't get out, the humor, the splatter.
Ready?
Absolutely.
Ready or Not,
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
called
see
Ready
it.
or Not.
And the combination of horror and comedy.
Yes, absolutely.
And having the dumb effect, but in case,
Well,
it's so good. There's so many similarities with this.
you're absolutely right, and this is the same directors.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
Oh, shit.
yeah, they
Wow.
made that, and then they went and made the last two Scream movies, which let's not talk about those. I'm not a fan, but then they came back and made this, and I love Ready or Not. Ready or Not is
I've
great.
seen it 4 times. I love it.
Absolutely, and what's that?
Samara.
Samara Weaving.
Weaving?
Samara Weaving.
Yeah.
Crickets from Dad. Anyway, we got a piece right over here.
When I first saw the ballerina, I thought of Black Swan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just because of like the music and how she like kind of transforms from good to bad. Well, not good, but you
Yes.
think she's good at
Innocent
the
to,
beginning,
yeah.
and
Innocent.
she kinda, like
Areas.
transforms. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something like inherently creepy about that whole like all that dancing where it's like super easy to twist that and then turn it into straight up horror. That I think Black Swan makes it really great. There's a flash on me at this very moment.
Because I'm not in the. I can't take pictures from the audience. So I was
It's
like,
okay,
I'm
it's
trying
all
to
good.
kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Thank you.
Because I screwed up at your last show and I didn't get any video.
Yeah, it's all good.
So,
But yeah,
sorry.
Black Swan, one that I was thinking about as well, and definitely a great one right up here.
I felt a little bit of Scooby-Doo meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah,
wow,
that's a good
The
combo.
bubbling people in the van, and then the silly
The van
vampire,
bumbling.
cute dress vampire. Right.
They were bumbling people.
They
in
were,
the
they
van.
were.
Yeah,
That's so
Absolutely.
Bumbling's
good.
a good one.
Yeah.
What about
absolutely.
Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods is
They had a
so cool.
ballerina that was like a leech face.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I haven't seen that in so many years. I forgot about that. Yeah. That did have a killer ballerina in it. Oh, that's really good. We got one right here.
Subtly, I thought of Usual Suspects in the sense that Lazar was the Antichrist,
Uh-huh.
and they mentioned in Usual Suspect how Kaiser Soze was the devil.
Sure.
So just kind of a weird finding out or like a revealing of somebody that you didn't know about.
Absolutely.
That evil of a person.
I love that. I love that. It's funny though in this movie, like as much as I really liked it, I mean the reveal was just like we've revealed, like it's over with. But no big twist necessarily. It's just like kind of like, oh, there he is. So
I was waiting for the big hat. We saw the guy in the big hat, but then
Yeah.
Matthew Good was never wearing the big hat. I was a little disappointed in that.
yeah, yeah, that's a weird choice. It's almost like they just wrapped it up, kind of.
My guess is that they tried the hat and it looked ridiculous. And they already built the set. And they're like, Matthew, don't wear the hat. You know?
My dad's asking about the hat. Can you elaborate on the hat?
all the I guess they're like wall, like they were like not paintings, but they're like sculptures into the wall.
Yeah.
Right. That had the girl holding the hand of the guy with the big hat, like a Jamiroquai hat. Right. Right. And when you saw his like feet walk into the shop, like, oh, we're gonna see the big hat. There's no hat.
I
And
was
like,
also wondering
so-
like if there was going to be some like old monster movie stuff on those paintings and statues. And
That would have been
whatnot.
cool. That
Yeah,
would've
little
been neat,
Easter
yeah.
eggs and stuff like that. But not that I caught at least on this
Yeah.
time around. But any more in the crowd? We got one right there.
Yeah. Aside from Fright Night, because in Fright Night they went and brought out the whole garlic for Jerry Dandridge, and he totally just shot that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple other spoofs in there, but one thing I did kind of reference was Interview with a Vampire. How they had a child that was so perfect and
Yeah.
and pristine, and yet she was completely faced with duality, considering she was very old in that young body, and she kind of perplexed how she communicated, and she was playing with her food vividly.
Come to mind.
Because even in Interview with the Vampire, he would tell her practicality: don't play with your food, or don't feed on the servants, these kinds of things. So in this one, they always surrounded themselves with nice housing, and she was all alone with no mentor. But we hear this ominous image of somebody else, her father.
Yeah.
And she's here sophisticatedly killing her meals.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that was one of the references
I think that's a really good one. And I think that they kind of do actually spend quite a bit of time that I was surprised with of the fact that she's not, nobody's looking after her. And so this is how she ends up growing up on her own, is just completely monstrous and just really just killing, with no abandon. So I think that that's a good piece and like a real like kind of change from that and, trying to like kind of play with that kind of relationship with the parent, or a parental figure anyway. But I think I saw one over there.
Oh, Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Full scene.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just gonna
100%.
say that one.
You were thinking about that one over there
Yes,
as well?
I had that one listed down too.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Let's get into some closing thoughts.
Hello.
We didn't let Mom talk. What do we got, Mom?
I will say what I did.
It's never a puzzle piece.
Well, forget the length of it. I did not like the vampire's teeth because I thought they were very cheesy and they reminded me of my Invisalign that I sleep in.
Oh my
They
God.
certainly did not rock vampires.
That's a puzzle piece, Invisalign.
Okay.
It's a puzzle piece from another movie.
I did like the dance off
Mhm.
because for some reason it reminded me of Rocky Horror. I don't know why, but I was
Yeah.
thinking of Tim Curry and I was thinking of Riff Raff, and
Yeah.
for some reason I liked that. I didn't like that the father, whoever he was, suddenly he was British. She didn't have an
Yeah.
accent.
Most vampires are British.
Oh, okay.
Came out of nowhere.
Okay. And does anybody here, question for the crowd, does anybody here know the name of the prima ballerina in Swan Lake
the name of her two parts.
I knew she was going to bring up Swan Lake. She loves Swan Lake.
I was really jonesing on that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's Odette and Odile, but I'm never sure which one is the black one and which one is the good one, the white one. Okay,
All right.
so that's who she was dancing. I think she was dancing Odile.
Swan Lake, we could call that a puzzle piece, and Rocky Horror, I think, fits in here as well.
Something about that dance scene, it touched me.
It'd be a really short movie if it wasn't for all the dancing. She would have,
Yeah.
kind of gotten rid of the dispatch of them pretty quickly if she wasn't just goofing around.
And luckily, the dancing was fun. So it was absolutely worthwhile. But Nick, closing thoughts.
Oh shit! Closing thoughts. I don't know. I'm used to just the puzzle pieces.
Yeah, I know.
Let me look at my.
Did you have a good
okay.
time
This
with
is a closing thought that is. I don't know. I just thought that Sammy, when she looked like it turned into a vampire, she looked like Miley Cyrus.
Totally.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just getting serious Miley Cyrus vibes from that, and I was into it. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Gina, what about you? Any closing thoughts on the movie in general?
I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was gonna like it, and I really did.
Right on. Absolutely. What about you over there, Perry?
No, that was a really fun one. Do you know if the guy who played Peter, was he in the X-Men Origins movie? Did he play the Blob? I was wondering because he seemed very familiar. Anyways, that was one thing I was wondering. I'll do quick honorable mentions.
Sure.
I'd say the ending, or like the movie X by Ty West.
Sure.
Especially when like she drives off at the end. And then Us with like the puppeting.
Okay.
And then the mirroring of like, two kind of, people doing the same thing at the same time. So
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed it. It was really fun. That was a good movie.
Can I say one more? Just I'm surprised no one said it.
Sure.
Reservoir Dogs with all the fake names.
Oh yeah, that is a good one actually.
Right. And the fact that they don't explain it in Reservoir Dogs, but they think the audience is stupid enough they need to explain it in this movie.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah,
we're
why am I
monster
Mr.
movie
Pink?
fans,
That dialogue explains what's going on, but they're like, we have to have fake names because I don't want to know who you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah. But
In that case, then I'm just gonna give my one puzzle piece that I had on my list that I haven't said, and it was a Man on Fire because of the little girl, like getting held ransom, the little girl, like that whole plan. It just, I always think of that movie because that movie was just like very memorable. So
Yeah, that's a
anytime there's
great
a
movie,
ransom movie, I think about that.
Right on. I guess I'll just throw in, since everybody's throwing in extra puzzle pieces, one more double dose of Chloe Grace Moretz. We could go with the original Let the Right One In, but do her remake Let Me In because it's her, and Kick-Ass with the character of Hit Girl, just this little crazy little monster child that jumps on people and stabs the shit out of them. So, she's awesome.
That's
all
a
love
great
her.
movie.
Yeah, so much fun. So that does it for Abigail. Nick, where can people find you?
Ghost Chaser Nick or Ghost Chaser Productions, which is Productions is my film company, or Sin City Horror Club if they want to see what we're doing here in Las Vegas for all of our horror hangouts and stuff.
Right on.
That's all on Instagram, all one word, whatever. Either any one of those.
How about you, Gina?
You can find me interrupting Dave a lot on his podcast.
that works. That absolutely works. How about you, Perry?
I'm on Instagram at PerryLex14. That's my personal. So that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Right on. Everybody, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. We will be back here at Maya Cinemas for Furiosa on May 23rd. My mom's waving at me for some reason.
No, I'm not coming to that.
Okay. You got a list for me?
Yeah. And did he say Sin City Horrors or Sin City Horror?
Horror Fest.
Sin City Horrors is a different thing.
That's
a different night.
I don't run that
Different
page.
Yeah.
Since
You
I mean, you like what you like, So, so
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Oh, we've got a hand. Hopefully, it's not as far off as what my mom just did. But what do we got over there?
I want to give a plug to the one that we did on Sunday that's coming back.
Oh, Hundreds of Beavers. Absolutely. So much fun. Which, by the way, at the time that this goes up, you'll also be able to hear I just did an interview with the director of Hundreds of Beavers. That'll be up on the podcast. Very excited about that. But yeah, it's coming back to the Beverly, right? What's the date on that?
The 23rd at 8 p.m.
All right.
One of the funniest movies of all.
It is so good. Everybody go watch Hundreds of Beavers. Check out our episode on Hundreds of Beavers that we did live at Downtown Cinemas. And thank you, everybody, so much for being here.
Come on, everybody.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur
We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Tracks, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Abigail. Thanks again to Gina Mizzoni, Perry Markle, and Knik Woods, as well as to Maya Cinemas and to everyone who came out for the live show. These shows have been so much fun, and I'm hoping to keep them coming, at least one a month. We'll see what we could get booked, but keep an eye out on social media at PiecingPod. You can also sign up for our mailing list on the website, piecingpod.com, to make sure that you find out about all these live shows and, of course, find out about everything else I'm up to. And, aside from that, you could follow us on social media at PiecingPod, join our Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. Don't forget, we do have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, as well as video versions of some episodes of the podcast, including this one, and a whole bunch of other great stuff. Bonus episodes from Awesome Movie Year, some stuff from my music career. Lots of stuff over there on the Patreon. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. So I'm going to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And I know I've played this one before, but it's just such a good fit for Abigail. It is a track from a found footage killer doll movie that I did some music for years ago called Heidi. This was the main theme from Heidi. And the music video is ballerina themed, and it's a horror movie. And so obviously this is a good fit for a movie like this. So, and I think I might have just recently played it actually, but you know what? Whatever. It's a cool track, and it's definitely a good fit here. So we're going to go out with the main theme from Heidi, which is available as a single on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music, along with all my other music. And I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
an All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.
All right, so yeah, I think we're gonna get this thing rolling. Mom, you're interrupting the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Down in front.
I just heard her say her nickname is Divine.
She just did say her nickname is Divine. She's still going. Wow. This is good.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, start strong.
Yeah. I'm recording right now. This is all going on the Patreon, all this part. Wow.
Hey, everybody, Sunny turned 83 yesterday.
Yeah. Woo! Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday.
I'm almost here.
Ay, ay, ay.